Hey, True Believers, Englentine here, and this is a repost of a video I did for I Love Comics. I wanted to redo the opening, though, because I was like, hey, the Captain Marvel movie's out. Yeah, okay, it's been out for a while, dude. Right now, actually, Monica Rambeau is enjoying a resurgence because of WandaVision, where she's going to become Spectrum, but you know what? She's always Captain Marvel to me. If you're not going to use Billy Batson, use Monica Rambeau, and let's let Carol Danvers be Ms. Marvel the way she should be in her black outfit. Thank you very much. So there's a lot of opinion here, and some people think I went a little too far on some stuff. Some people think that I forgot about Halle Berry. So you can tell where those spots are and let me know in the comments below what you think. If you do disagree, by all means, let me hear about it. Just be respectful. Remember, we're all friends here, so to speak. Anyway, yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's get this party started.
Once upon a time, a long time ago, boys and girls, there was a young man named Billy. Now, Billy had a magical word, and when he said that word, he turned into Superman. Okay, maybe not Superman. He turned into Captain Marvel. But it was close enough to Superman that it really ticked off Superman's mommy and daddy over at DC Comics. So DC Comics sued the bad people over at Captain Marvel's mom and daddy's house called Fawcett Comics. And Captain Marvel had to go away. The good news is that Superman's mommy and daddy at DC Comics decided they were going to adopt Captain Marvel. So they did. But they were bad parents, and they neglected him all the way up to the 1970s, where they put him in a comic book called Shazam, the original Captain Marvel. Now, why didn't they just call him Captain Marvel? Well, that's where this story gets serious. For those not in the know, Marvel actually started off as Timely Comics, then moved to Atlas. They really did have an identity problem. So when it was time to produce these new superhero comics because they wanted to jump into the game that DC seems to have already conquered, they changed their name to Marvel. And hey, shouldn't a comic book company with the name of Marvel have a character called Marvel? So they decided, since nobody else was using it, they themselves were going to produce a comic called Captain Marvel. And they created TODD. And this, of course, sparked off a very long lawsuit between DC and Marvel. They even trademarked it. So that is why Shazam is named Shazam. As a matter of fact, I believe in 2011, it's so they, not like for beforehand, they could put the name Captain Marvel on the cover, but after 2011, they can't even call him Captain Marvel in the books. So, yep, they win. Anywho, unfortunately, Marvel didn't really take off. He did have a strong, loyal fan base after Jim Starlin jumped in and just kind of expanded the world of Captain Marvel, but he never really took off. He just, not a lot of interest. I got to admit, I'm one of those people who just were never interested. He never kind of grabbed me. That is until the death of Captain Marvel. Yeah, this is the most famous thing Marvel has ever done. He has died. He's like Barry Allen. He was a better character dead than he ever was alive to some. And I understand, if you're a big fan, especially of the Jim Starlin years, I understand. Those are the better years. Just not my cup of tea. Yet, what are they going to do now? They killed off Captain Marvel, and Marvel has to retain the name. That means they have to keep on putting out books. So, enter Monica Rambeau. Yeah, that's right. I did a comic book origins on this book. Check it out by all means. This is the first appearance of Monica Rambeau as Captain Marvel, the first African-American to join the Avengers. It's a great book here, and she really hit. I know a lot of people liked her back then. I know I did. I'll stand up and say, yeah, I was a Monica Rambeau Captain Marvel fan. Because not only was she here, she was in the Secret Wars. She was everywhere, man. Seriously. And this was a big deal. I'm sorry, gang, if you don't understand how big the Secret Wars were in the 80s. It stood toe-to-toe with Crisis on Infinite Earths, although I believe that Crisis was a better story. And she was not a weak woman, and she was an obvious black woman, which we're going to get to in just a little bit. Because once again, I'm wondering why in Marvel's big push did they not push Monica Rambeau? And she was sassy, she was strong, she stood her ground, and yeah, I kind of wanted Jim Rhodes and her to get together after I saw the scenes here in Secret Wars and everything. I thought that was kind of cool. One other thing is, even though she wasn't just an Avenger, at one point, she ended up leading the Avengers when they had the most difficult team. You have Black Knight, you have Dr. Druid, you have Namor. You know, this is not an easy team to lead. The only character that really backed her up all the time was She-Hulk. Dr. Druid continuously questioned her leadership throughout her tenure. Granted, it didn't last long, but she was a leader of the Avengers at one point in time. Captain America, no less, and Captain America's always been my favorite team leader. But I got to admit, the best years of the Avengers are when Wasp was leader and Captain America was kind of the second in command, and it worked. But unfortunately, like I said, Monica Rambeau didn't work out as the leader, or wasn't the leader for as long as she could have been, at least, and she never really gained traction. Even the almighty Christopher Priest gave her a one shot. You know, let's keep her relevant, Unfortunately, that didn't work either. And she kind of fell by the wayside. She just kind of sank into obscurity. And that just isn't a good thing for Marvel. Because remember, Marvel has to keep putting out books in order to keep the name. They always have to remind you there is a Captain Marvel out there. So here comes a new book. Here comes a new book. Maybe that's why. No, it's basically because nobody likes Carol Danvers. That's why there's one. However, they decided they wanted to bring Captain Marvel into the modern day back in the 90s. And they brought in Genis Vell, the son of Captain Marvel, and they tied his powers closer to Captain Marvel. And he even called himself Captain Marvel at the same time that Monica Rambeau called herself Captain Marvel. Now, granted, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, wasn't in a lot of books, but she still had a fan base. But nope, they had this right here. Monica, I've been thinking, you seem like a lady who's got it all together, you know? And he says, what I'm trying to say is you deserve the name Captain Marvel more than me. And she says, thank you, but the name is yours. You know, make your legacy proud, blah, blah, blah. And that's when she became, I do believe, Photon first? Yeah, that's going to be important here. You got to remember that Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, went from Captain Marvel to Photon. And, of course, Genis Vell became, Captain Marvel for a little bit. Yeah, from all accounts, Genis Marvel, you could say, kind of went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and in steps his sister, Phyla Vell, and she takes the name Captain Marvel for a little bit. We'll get there. Yeah, this is incredible. It really is. Now, here's the thing. I actually dropped out of Marvel at this point. I was tired of it, so I don't know much about Marvel, Phyla Vell Marvel. I do know that she's got a strong fan base, however. That is just part of the story, and let's move on. See, Genis Vell wasn't using the name Captain Marvel anymore, and he got himself a new look. I still say that this looks like Starboy from the Legion of Superheroes, but there you go, that's his look. And he needed another name, so of course they couldn't think of Starman, Star this, anything. Pulsar, Stargrave, that's being used. No, what they decided upon was Photon. Yeah, you remember Photon? Yeah, that was the name that Monica Rambeau was using. So they just stripped it from Monica Rambeau again and gave it to Genis Vell. So she lost two identities to Genis Vell. That's what Marvel thought of Monica Rambeau. There you go, gang. As a matter of fact, for a while, she didn't have a code name. She was called Auntie Monica. Yep, that's during her years as the leader of Next Wave. So... wow, yeah, let's just rip out her identity again. But, okay, so you got Monica in Next Wave. That's cool. At least Marvel said, you know what, people like this character. Let's put her in a comic book that lasts no time, and then we say it's not canon. There you go, Monica. Good for you. Marvel's looking at you again. Well, Auntie Monica's not laughing, and we understand. First of all, you're starting to lose your black features, by the way. Have you noticed that, gang? Another thing is they just keep booting you around, taking your identity, and they just keep messing around with you, not respecting you the way your fan base should, or at least the fan base that you would have had they respected you in the first place. Now, in the meantime, Ms. Marvel is enjoying a small success with her series, not a mini-series, an actual series. People are liking it. I liked it. I read it. And it was very entertaining, very enjoyable. But, of course, all good things come to an end. However, Kelly Sue DeConnick says, hey, guys, wait a second. I have an idea for a story for Ms. Marvel, and I would love to write Ms. Marvel. But Marvel said, wait a second, we can't do that. We need to put out a Captain Marvel book, or we're going to lose the name. We got to keep it going here, and you're not going to be writing a Ms. Marvel book. You're going to be writing a Captain Marvel book. Yeah, instead of taking the character who's lost her identity, the black woman that has lost her identity, and just putting her into the Captain Marvel role when Ms. Marvel had an identity already, they gave the Captain Marvel name to blonde, blue-eyed. That's going to come back later because now we have the all-new, all-different Marvel. This is their big diversity push. If you remember, they want to get all of their characters out there, and yeah, we're going to promote this big diverse cast, and well, they kind of did. But in this instance, they made more mistakes than they did not. For the most part, we had the movies going where people were expecting a certain person to be in each identity, and it just wasn't. Now, Kamala Khan, I have no problem with. Original character, the name of Ms. Marvel's not being used. Great addition to, I think sometimes she was written well, but ultimately not very, to tell you the truth. But at least if people went into the comic shop looking for Ms. Marvel, it was her they were looking for. It wasn't like the other entries into this big diversity push. Some of whom showed that Marvel actually is a little bit racist. Sorry, gang, but you could have had a whole different character instead. The Totally Awesome Hulk is a Korean guy. You couldn't give him his own identity. A woman gets the power of Thor. So what's her name? Thor. Yeah, can't let a woman ride on her own identity. She has to ride the coattails of a guy, right? This is not exactly what Marvel was going for, and I'm surprised that more people didn't see it. I know I'm talking about Monica Rambeau here, but probably the worst offender of this, to me, is Ironheart. Because she's in a book called The Invincible Iron Man, yet in the book she's called Ironheart. And they still wouldn't give her a book with her own identity until a whole bunch of people, myself included, really went after Marvel about it. And they called us racist because we were saying, yeah, put her in an Ironheart book. And when they did, we were like, wow, that's actually pretty good. Hawkeye is Hawkeye. No, Hawkeye, Clint Barton is Hawkeye. You could give her, what is her name again? Kate Bishop? Give Kate Bishop her own identity, because now, instead of being known as Hawkeye, everybody just calls her Kate Bishop. She could have her own superhero name. Hello? Are we getting it yet? This is where Marvel has really dropped the ball, and this is why I'm wondering if pushing Monica Rambeau to the side is not on purpose. Now, we know that instead of promoting any kind of gay character that had already existed, they created, or they changed Iceman's history to make him gay. And let's talk about another black character they took the identity from. And in this case, it's the very first African-American superhero. Yeah, I know a lot of people say Black Panther, but Black Panther's not from America. And this is the guy who first protected Harlem. It wasn't Power Man, it was Falcon. And they took his identity to let him ride the coattails of his more famous white partner. I'm telling you, Marvel was not looking good at this point in time. And look how they draw Spectrum or Monica Rambeau at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, what the heck is that? Seriously, take a look at this. This is very clearly a black woman drawn in 1983, Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 16. This is Captain Marvel as Spectrum. Very clearly a white woman who uses spray tan, or that's not Monica Rambeau, and it shouldn't be. And what's worse, this is a time when they're doing a diversity push, and they decide that the one hero that they want to be the face of Marvel Comics is Captain Marvel. Now, we already know they're willing to take the name Captain America and put it on a black person. But do they do that for Monica Rambeau? No. They do this to Carol Danvers. They make her the 6-foot-tall, blonde-hair, blue-eyed, and begin to deflate certain female features. As a matter of fact, in some, they actually make her, in comic books, they make her look like a man. They make her look like a white man, and that is their big push for diversity. They had the chance to be heroes with Monica Rambeau. This is the movie that we should have been getting right here, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you, she did a hell of a lot better in that movie than Brie Larson did. This is what we should be seeing right now. The big diversity push, if they wanted to make Captain Marvel the face of Marvel Comics during their big, oh my gosh, we are, no, it should have been Monica Rambeau. But they didn't go that way. They stuck with Carol Danvers. Then they turned it into Carl Manvers, as the joke goes. And this is what we got. And this is bland. Not good, not bad, not horrible, not terrific. It's just one very dull movie. Now you got to ask yourself, knowing how they were willing to take the name Captain America and stick it onto Sam Wilson, why wouldn't they do the same thing with Monica Rambeau? Why did they treat Captain Marvel with that kind of disrespect for all these years? I don't know. You could use the whole Sam Wilson thing as a defense for Marvel. Well, maybe they just didn't think about it. Maybe they just thought nobody cared for Monica Rambeau. People like Sam Wilson a little bit better, so they decided to push him. There is an argument against them being overtly racist. I mean, just the existence of Captain America, as Sam Wilson says that. But you got to ask yourself, why? Why such disrespect for a character who had such a strong following in the 80s, and just they gave her identity away to the point where she didn't have one, to the point where they whitened up her features, and to the point where they said, we're going to be doing a big diversity push, and the one obvious character to include in it, they forgot about. I don't know, you make your own decision. My decision, well, what do I really think? No, I just think it was ignorance, tell you the truth. I think they got mad because Captain Marvel is not working, so they forced it on us. And I mean by that Carol Danvers. I don't think they really thought of Monica Rambeau at all after all of that. And the more people push back, the more belligerent they got that we are wrong, they are right, and they will prove to us by shoving a new Captain Marvel with Carol Danvers down our throats every 6 issues. A new number 1, and that's been the way, instead of giving us a character that we have been saying, hey, bring her back. I am back, baby. Monica is back. Those are the words we wanted to hear. But I don't know if I actually want that with the modern day writers. I think we would get all of the SJW BS plus the race card, which that has never been the character she was. Maybe an instant here or two, but that was not the character that she was in the 1980s.
So there you go, gang. My opinions on things. I know, like I said, I've read comments on this thing over at the other channel. I know some people think I went too harsh. Some people think, oh, well, you're just the SJW that you claim you don't like. And then I've had people go, hey, dude, you forgot about Halle Berry. She's got Anglo features. What are you talking about, dude? That was where people said, hey, you made your mistake here. But I still feel good about this. I was really surprised about how I felt, what I found out, and how they've treated this character anyway. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, and most important, hit that notification bell, because that's what they really pay attention to here at YouTube. If you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi. I've got the Ko-Fi because I know some people, they don't like Patreon anymore. Just drop $1 in the till. Helps keep the lights on here. Helps keep making videos for you. Thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching. Hey, True Believers, England teen here, and will you hush? He stayed quiet right up to the moment I started talking. Okay, let's try that again. Hey, True Believers, England teen. This is what I gotta deal with. Hey, True Believers, England. Hey, True Believers. Hey, True. Okay, shut up! Alright. Hey, True Believers, England. Okay. He was quiet. I did a whole other video as well, and he was silent for that. Death to the Tsar, he said nothing. This one he's got to go for. Okay.